Welcome to Real Talk TV. I'm your host, Darryl Buchannan. First of all, I'd like to thank all supporters. When you watch the videos, please make sure you like it, share it, and smash that subscribe button. Today, I have another special guest, a different opportunity, something that, how can I say, moved me. It was a new territory for me, something I didn't know, but actually got moved in a very special way. I was out at a horse rescue called Aly Storm out in Storm, Mass, and I met my next guest, Aly Shoemaker, and my experience at the rescue, my experience with talking with this woman. Yes, I had no other alternative to hopefully that you can experience what I experienced. And without no further ado, I'd like to introduce Aly Shoemaker, the president of Aly Storm. Could you tell my viewers a little bit about yourself?
So my name is Aly. I started working with horses when I was 11. I grew up working at the horse rescue with the founder, Nina Arbella. She was like my mother when it came to horses. I started volunteering for a summer. I was determined. All I wanted to do that summer was work with horses, and then I never stopped because I loved it so much. And I remember my first day of 6th grade, I didn't want to go to school. I remember the first friend I made that day, I told her I'd rather be at the barn than at school. And she remembered that for all of middle school. And all throughout middle school and high school, I would go to the barn on the weekends. I would go after school if I didn't have too much homework. And it kind of just, I knew I wanted to spend my entire life with horses.
Let me ask you, when did you know? I mean, when was your first, because you had to see a horse, feel a ride a horse. At what age did that happen? I mean, for you to acquire such a love. I mean, you're passionate about it, so I want to know.
Yeah, I don't know if it was, I have two very early memories of kind of falling in love with horses, and I don't remember which was first, but at my preschool, they used to do pony rides. I don't remember if it was like once a month in the warm weather or whatnot, but I would get so excited for the pony rides. And it'd be nap time, and the pony rides would be in the afternoon, and I would refuse to take the nap because I'm like, I can't, I'm just too excited. And all I could think about was like, I just want to ride this horse, and I was so excited to do it. And then I also remember at some point when I was very little, I got a bunch of puzzles as a gift, and my favorite puzzle in the entire set, it was different breeds of horses. And I remember I would build the puzzle, and then I would sit there with my parents and be like, I'm going to ride that breed, I'm going to ride that breed, I'm going to ride that one, I'm going to own that one, I'm going to own that one. And it just made sense to me. And it's like, okay, this is going to be what's going to happen. And I think I was maybe 12 or 13 when I really decided. I was like, you know what, all I want to do in my life is play with horses. Okay. I'm like, you know, this is where I feel happiest, and this is just, it made sense. It was what I was going to do.
Cool. Speaking of Nina Arbella, that's your, fair to say, your mentor, right?
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about her and how you guys linked up?
So Nina was probably one of the fiercest women I've ever met, and it was funny, my mom actually was the lawyer that helped set up the nonprofit for the rescue. Okay. So when I started saying I wanted to do more with horses and work with animals, my mom's like, all right, I'm going to take you to Nina's. And she...
At what age was that?
I was 11. I was 11. I walked right up. I introduced myself and said, I'm going to work for you for the summer. And Nina's like, okay. And so she took me under, and she showed me the ropes of, you know, how to work around horses, how to be with them. And she was always a very brutally honest, blunt person, so she really didn't hide anything from me when it came to the stories that these horses had. And she told me very honestly that there's people in this world that are not kind to animals, and that it's wrong, and that there's those of us in this world that are here to make it better as best we can. And she was, I think, the person that really helped me understand that horses are beautiful, and people do really horrible things, and it's our job to take those horses and show them they still deserve love.
That's deep. What was Nina's mission? When she came, what was, like, if she was still here, what would you picture her doing, and where was she trying? Where was she going with this? I mean, you know, I'm sure she had a vision and a mission there.
Nina
been passed down to you.
Nina wanted to save the world for horses. She always wanted to rescue the next horse and do everything she possibly could. I remember her building stalls in the old barn. The old barn, yep, she would build them herself, and she'd find ways to tuck them on, add them on, put them in, and she'd build them herself, so that way we could take one more horse in from somebody that was in a bad situation. And I remember a funny story, I guess, from her youth of she had gone to, I think it was a fair, and she saw a bunch of cows and other animals there, and she realized, that the cows might be going to meat market afterwards, and she brought a cow home in the back of her car. So she may have been the person where I learned how to, pick up stray animals and take them home at night from, and if she were here today, she'd still be rescuing horses. She'd be finding a way to make it happen, and she'd be just as determined as she always was of, it doesn't matter what challenges are ahead of us, we're going to make it, because that's what these animals deserve.
Speaking of Nina Bella, excuse me, she was the founder of Eye of the Storm, and I heard a story that we talked about with her horse Stormy. Can you tell a little bit about that story? And when I heard it, I was like, wow, that's kind of deep.
Yeah, so when Nina was much younger, she had a horse named Stormy, and she loved this horse. There's a term in the horse world called a heart horse, where it's this horse that is basically the other half of your heart. You can't go without them. And in all sense, Stormy very much was her heart horse. And there was one time that, because she used to ride Stormy all around town and just go everywhere adventuring with her, I think she had gone off to a fair and she'd left Stormy. Either she rode Stormy there and left her tied up somewhere, or she left Stormy at home. And Stormy decided, not doing this. And she went through the crowd of people and she was loose. She was just walking through the crowd until she found Nina. And she was like, all right, I found you, we're good. And Nina's like, how did you get here? And she loved that horse. And unfortunately, the horse ended up passing abruptly. And I don't know if Nina ever learned the cause of it when she was pretty young. And that was kind of what inspired the name of Eye of the Storm, was in honor of Stormy.
Wow.
And Nina, I think, was inspired by Stormy to continue to have horses in her life. And then, by that she learned rescuing horses. Cool.
I want to ask a little bit about, before I get to your vision and your further vision, I did some research. I want to ask just a couple of questions.
Yep.
On one of them, it said that almost 920,000 horses are killed annually. Is that true?
Yes.
And by what means? What methods?
So horse slaughter is not something that happens in the United States. It was banned a long time ago. In the United States, we don't really consume horse meat, but it's not uncommon in other cultures and other countries for it to be in either dog feed or for people consumption. So horses, unfortunately, will end up on what's called the slaughter train, which can consist of them hopping between auction house to auction house to auction house, getting closer and closer, normally to the border, and then they cross the border into either Mexico. I don't believe Canada is as commonly shipped to us anymore, but they'll cross the border and end up in a slaughterhouse.
Wow, for meat. Wow. All right, some of the, Alex, I wanted to put up some of the horses that Eye of the Storm, and I wanted to kind of explain some of the things that we talked about and how you explained to me their route to you guys, what they went through, and what most rescued animals went through, just so people can understand, because like I said, it was new to me. When I seen it and heard you, it was like, whoa. And then I investigated, it was like, whoa. And who's this right here?
This is Thursday. So Thursday came to us when I was in high school. Our hay guy reached out to Nina, and he said that he had come across this mom horse with 2 babies, one of which clearly was not hers. And that they were all really emaciated, in poor condition, and that the farm that they were at was kind of a sketchy situation, and he was really worried about their welfare, and he was going to bail them out and wanted to know if we could take them. So we did, and Thursday was horrendously skinny when we got her, and she had 2 babies. One definitely was hers, the other was not, and she had been nursing both of them, which was part of the reason why she was so poorly underweight. And so what happened was we found a foster home for the baby that was not hers, and he is doing well in his life now. And her baby stayed at the rescue, and Nina fell in love with him. That was going to be her next riding horse. She wanted, you know, this pure little baby was just going to grow up never knowing, you know, horrible things. He was only going to ever know love in his life. And unfortunately, she passed away before he reached physical maturity in terms of his skeleton to be ridden. He now lives up with another woman that grew up working at the rescue that started her own rescue up in Maine. And Thursday never left the rescue because I fell in love with her when I was in high school.
Cool.
Just completely head over heels for this pony. And she has been a wonderful teacher to all new volunteers. She's very patient. She loves the kids. She loves hanging out with everyone. She currently has a slow thyroid, so she's on medication to help her body continue to process properly. She's also got Cushing's disease, which is kind of diabetes for horses, so her body has a harder time processing sugars properly. So she is on medication to control her insulin regulations and to help her be able to live her normal life, which is kind of expensive. She also gets clogged tear ducts and needs regular tear duct flushes.
What is that? Oh, for my eyes?
Yep, so her tear ducts will block up, and so she starts kind of excessively crying and watering to try and clear it out. But for whatever reason, either it just being an old horse type of thing, she can't seem to clear out the blockage, so she has to have it flushed by the vet.
So her medical, she has real serious medical needs. And
Yes.
is it consistently or
Yes.
constantly?
Yep, she's on daily medications. The flushing is going to be probably about every 2 to 3 times a year, kind of. However quickly it blocks back up into her tear ducts. But with all of the medical support, she lives a super happy life. She has a bunch
She
of
was a cool
volunteers.
one. Well, they're all
Yeah.
cool. I don't mean that.
No, she's a
When I went there, she was a
sweetheart.
cool one. Yeah, she was just chilling, doing her own,
Yeah.
just doing her own thing. So if there's anybody that would like to sponsor Thursday, I really appreciate it and suggest that you give Aly a call.
Absolutely.
Contact her and come out there and find out more. I mean, you have to go there. You have to just be there to kind of like really understand what we're talking about. And the next one, Alex?
So this is Xena. She is, I guess, technically our only horse at the rescue because she's the biggest one.
Okay.
And this was...
I have to cut you off. Can you explain that to me? Because I've seen them all as horses. She said, that's not a horse. I'm like, that's not a horse. Explain when you different.
The technical difference between a horse and a pony is their height. So anything that is 14.2 and taller can be considered a horse. If they're 14.2 and under, it's a pony.
See, that's when she told me, I'm like, well, they're horses.
It's a size difference.
Back to Xena, yeah.
So this is Xena. This was during our fall fundraiser. So our young volunteers put together different routines with their horse friends to music. This was I think it's the Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies. And this is with our volunteer, Angelina. I believe she's a young middle schooler. So she started this summer, and she started kind of at the end of summer, and she's like, I just want to have, time with horses. She'd previously ridden at another barn and got to a point where she didn't really like the drama and just kind of the poor atmosphere. So she stopped riding because it wasn't fun for her anymore. And so her mom really wanted to help her find an experience that would be with horses and be fun. And she found her way to me, and she doesn't want to leave.
Doesn't want to leave,
Yeah,
right?
she didn't want to go to school. Very much like how I didn't want to go to school in middle school.
She gotta go.
She's incredibly patient with the horses. She loves Xena. She worked really well with her over the summer, teaching her new tricks and kind of, just bonding with her. And the two of them work really well together.
How about Xena medically? How is she?
Xena, for the most part, medically is okay. She has some arthritis that's related to old age. She has some stiff muscles that are also probably related to old age. She gets regular massage work through the students at the Bancroft School. So they're learning how to massage. They need to have hours working with horses. And so a lot of them have come down and they've worked with Xena, and they all fell in love with her.
Yeah.
She came to us from someone that had been a long-term volunteer at the rescue who got to a point where physically and monetarily she really couldn't keep up with owning a horse. And because Xena is an older horse, trying to find a new home for an older horse is very hard and quite often can not end well. It's like with older dogs and cats at shelters. People just don't want them. They don't want to deal with something that might have more medical issues or might die soon. They want the young puppy. And the same thing with horses. So it can be very hard to find a good home for an older horse. So we said, you know what? We will take Xena and we'll make sure that she's safe.
Cool.
So.
And she's happy there.
She is.
All right, let's bring my buddy up, Moon. Alice, can we get Moon? There he is.
This is Mr. Moon. He is our resident bad boy. He really is truly a sweetheart. He just doesn't want to grow up. He likes being, you know, just that little boy that wants to poke your buttons because it's fun. And he came to us from a woman that has been a long-time follower and supporter of the rescue down in Martha's Vineyard. She owned him and his mother, and unfortunately he was getting kind of kicked out of the vineyard because he kept biting people, and so she contacted Nina, and Nina's like, yep, I'll take him. And for the longest time, Moon had a lot of behavioral challenges. He didn't quite recognize that people can't play to the same degree that a horse can. Really had no concept that we're a lot more breakable than he is.
Yes, a lot more.
And unfortunately, he is one that any attention is a reward for him. So even if it's negative attention, he's like, well, I still got a reaction from you. Yeah. So he never really was rehomed because he can be so reactive to the slightest kind of
Is there a reason for it? Oh, it's just him?
It's just him. Some horses just find it kind of rewarding to have any attention in general. He thinks
like kids, right?
Yeah, so he thinks it's very entertaining to kind of poke us until we get really frustrated.
I was there. Moon at me.
Yeah, he does that. He likes to do
Moon,
that.
yeah, he couldn't get my finger. He wasn't like aggressive though.
Nope.
It was just like, and then he hit the bomb. Remember, he got the pole.
Yeah. So he, because of that, he never really was a good candidate to go to just anybody. He has to, if he's ever going to leave, it has to be to somebody that really understands horse behavior, because sometimes people can misread that type of reaction as him being aggressive or being mean, when really he's just kind of bored and wants to play.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that could have ended up with him being in a very bad situation.
How old is he?
He's 23.
And what does that mean?
So horses generally live up into their 30s. A 30-year-old horse is kind of equivalent to like a 80, 90-year-old person. So
like me. Yeah, okay.
So he's an older dude. But he has Peter Pan syndrome. He doesn't want to grow up.
Cool. And you have two horses of your own. Can you tell us a story about those?
So I do have 2 horses of my own. As part of being a crazy horse person, was like, you know what, I'm going to have my own horses. I'm going to do it. And I remember back in 2019, I was very much looking for a horse, and I thought I was going to get a horse that maybe I could finish training and either rehome as a lesson horse somewhere, or, you know, just kind of keep and work with in lessons and all sorts of that stuff. And I came across a post that was advertising this little horse that just needed some finishing training, and I ended up going to meet him and realizing this is not at all what I thought I was getting myself into. And I remember when I sat on him to test ride him, after watching him try to run away with the trainer riding him and thinking, oh no, what am I doing here? I sat on him and I just got this overwhelming sense of he was just angry and frustrated and just scared. And I was like, I can fix this. That was my first thought, was I can fix this. And despite a lot of people telling me, maybe this isn't the horse for you, I fell in love. I was like, nope, this is my horse. And I found out that he had actually traded hands a number of times since 2017. From 2017 forward, I am his 5th owner. Wow. And he's only 13 now.
Wow.
So.
Let me ask you a question. What about the other one? You have 2.
Yes, my little one.
Yeah. So I met the one you were just talking about.
Yep.
And the other one was in the behind.
Yeah. So the other one loves food. So sometimes she waits. She won't come over to say hi unless there's food. She worked as a therapeutic riding horse at the facility that I teach at. And when COVID hit, she was mostly working with the community students who were really, really tiny kiddos, because she's a very small pony. When COVID hit, we closed the program to community and stuck with the residential clients of the school. And they were all big teenagers, and she kind of didn't have a job. and somebody offered a larger pony to the program that would be more versatile, and I had already fallen in love with her. I thought she was just the cutest little thing, and so I had often joked I was going to steal her. And so when the offer came up for a bigger pony, I said to my bosses, I was like, well, I'll take her. And then I did. And so her only job in life is to be best buds with my bigger guy.
And how long did you have both of them?
So I've had Gomez since 2019, and I've had Fitzy since 2020.
Cool. There's some programs there at with the youth. What is the name of the programs?
So at the rescue,
there's 2 going on, right?
I have.
And 1 coming?
I have 2 going on right now. I have the Thursday Project.
Thursday Project.
Which is kind of my biggest kind of project and my biggest focus, and what it is it's a volunteer opportunity for youth.
Okay.
I really don't have an age requirement for volunteers. I don't mind if someone is 5 years old and they want to come brush a pony for an hour. They can come do that. But so what the Thursday Project is it's an opportunity for young kids to come and have positive time with horses, learn about the care of horses and all the responsibility that goes into being with them. It's not just, you can come and brush them, but you should also probably pick up, their pasture and their stall so it's clean. Learning how to feed them, and also learning how to work with each other. So it's kind of the goal is empowerment and teaching kind of responsibility and independence and creative thinking. They work with the horses and they do positive reinforcement training to teach the horses tricks, teach them about their bodies, teach them how to be more flexible. Like Xena does a lot of PT type stuff, so she works on stretching, how to kind of be more flexible with her body and how to kind of move around better. And the kids do it with my guidance, but I'm not doing it for them. They have to do it. And they love it. They get so excited. They come down on, mostly it happens on Thursday afternoons, and they come down, they clean everything up first, they get their ponies clean, and then they ask what they get to teach today.
Good.
And what they can work on today. And sometimes they have something that they want to work on. They're like, can I do this? And I'm like, absolutely, you can go do that.
They're probably already souped up before they even get there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they get their little bags full of treats, they're prepared, they're ready, and it's been a ton of fun watching them and their friendships grow, and just watching how they know.
And the horses respond well to them?
Oh yeah, the horses love them. They know what day of the week it is. They, in the mornings on Thursdays. The horses know what day it is? They definitely do. Moon on Thursday mornings, sometimes he'll just stand at the gate and he just keeps staring up at the driveway. He's like, I'm waiting for my friend to come.
Wow. That was another thing I wanted to ask you, because when I was doing some research, it said that horses are very emotional.
Yes.
A lot of character. They really know things. And I remember you told me, when I was there, I'm like, oh, you said, yeah, they're just like big dogs.
Yeah, they are.
Is that true? Can you tell me a little bit more about their characters and how they, because it's just,
Yeah,
they seem like human.
They
a little bit. That's probably why human beings connect so well with them,
Yeah.
I think.
They very much are like big dogs. They're very emotionally intelligent, like dogs are.
Told me that, right?
Yeah. They actually can read our facial expressions very well. They're quick to learn that, and they pick up on our body language. So they also are very attuned to things like our breathing, because they can hear it. They can also hear our heartbeat if we're standing close enough to them, so they can pick up on how we're feeling based off all those body cues. And they react accordingly. Some horses are really, really, I don't want to deal with your baggage, and I'm going to go the other way because this is too much anxiety for me. And others are like,
know, right?
They feel it. And others are like, I feel that, and I'm going to come help you. Some of them will just come and stand with you, because they can sense that you are kind of emotionally not there, and they'll just come stand next to you.
You need somebody or something, they think?
Yeah, and so horses and their herd life together, what they'll do is they'll stand close to each other, and kind of their heart rate and respiration rate will sync up to the point that they're very well aware of how their fellow herd mates are feeling. And so if one senses something that startles them, maybe they're like, oh, something smells funny, or I heard a noise, the rest of them all react very quickly because they're so attuned. But at the same time, they can relax one that is maybe a little bit more stressed out by just being next to them and being calm.
Cool. I wanted to ask you, what is your vision? Eye to Storm, where would you want Eye to Storm? What direction you want to go in? And what would you like to see happen? And obviously community involvement. What do you want for these horses?
I want the horses that we have to have a wonderful retirement for the rest of their life. I want them to know every day that they are loved. I want to be able to grow what we're doing. So the farm that we're at right now serves the purpose of what we're doing, but we can't expand. We really can't take on more horses, and we really can't expand our volunteer program more or start doing other types of programming. I would love to do more therapeutic work, so have things like group therapy sessions come do their sessions at the farm and just be in the presence of the horses and get the benefit of that. But we don't have the facility for it. So for the future, I would like to be able to grow and be able to find ways to continue to take on more animals, rehome them if possible, and for the ones that need kind of hospice, end-of-life care, give them a place to have that. And I'd like to be able to find a way to give back more to the community with more youth program options, you know, therapeutic options, and just also being a space where if someone is having a bad day and they just need to find a quiet space to be able to come there.
Cool. That's all. All right, so do you have anything else that you'd want to get across?
Yes.
If you can use the camera right there, take your time, say what you need to say, and I just want you guys to really listen. And you know, from my experience there was a lot of love. You know, like I said, when I left, you know, I try to hold my masculinity, but when I left, I was really bothered by that. I think I was really bothered. I just never knew stuff like that happened to. I know it happened to human beings because stuff like that happened to me before, but I just never knew stuff like that happened to.
Yeah.
Like animals that can't. So the camera's yours, the floor is yours.
So for the future of the rescue, we need a new farm. Currently, trying to find a new farm is not the easiest. There is a location I've had my eyes on for the past year that we are working to try and put together some bigger fundraisers and grants to help us acquire. It's a much bigger property than what we currently have, which would allow us to rescue more horses. And as you pointed out, a lot of people don't maybe understand that there is a need for that.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't understand how easily horses are tossed away. We see it in the MSPCA commercials and the ASPCA commercials, you know, all the sad dogs and hoarding situations and, you know, the cats with all the crusties in their eyes that make us all want to cry in the middle of the night. But not enough people realize that horses have a lot of the same stuff. People will sometimes just drop horses off at a farm where this is not the horse I want to keep anymore, here you go. Or they'll sell it to just anyone for a low price just to get rid of the horse. And horses, unfortunately, in alarming numbers, do get shipped down into slaughter.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that a lot of thoroughbreds that are bred for racing for things like the Kentucky Derby, if they're not good enough, they're just passed along.
Animals that we use and we appreciate, and when we're done with them, we just cast them.
Yeah, they get cast away kind of like an old shoe. You know, your shoe doesn't fit your foot anymore, or it's worn down, or something broke. You throw it away and you get a new one, and people do that with horses. And the unfortunate part is horses live for up to 30 years or more, and they are very smart horses, very intelligent. They want to be with us, and they get cast away as if they don't have all of that intelligence. And people sometimes look at a horse as it's only valuable if you can ride it.
Yeah.
And they don't realize that there's a lot of other benefit that you can have from a horse. And keeping horses isn't just about if you can ride them. It's also kind of similar to having a dog. What can you give them? And that it's not just, you know, oh, I got a brand new shoe or a brand new horse. They're not the same.
Yeah.
And so I want to be able to pick up more horses from those bad situations and help them get back into health and find a more appropriate home, a home where someone's going to love them and appreciate the value of them for more than just what they can get from them.
Good. So you heard it. Like I said, I was there. I seen the horses. I seen the love that this woman has for the horses. And like you said, you want a bigger place. And I know there's people out there, I know there's people that might know someone, whatever it takes, you know what I mean, to reach out to Aly, go out there and visit Eye of the Storm.
Yeah.
But really, just find it in your heart to reach out to these horses and try to find a place where they can retire and they can enjoy their life. And we could be a part of that just by passing the word, and hopefully someone hears us. I'm going to ask you one more time for final words, and then we'll wrap it up.
Well, if you want to follow...
Well, thank you to your youths that are there, the youth that help you.
My kiddos are all very excited about this, and they were all very excited about the fact that their favorite ponies were going to get featured on TV.
Yeah.
So big thank you to them and all they do. They bring me so much joy with all their silly happiness. They're so innocent and silly sometimes that it's so heartwarming to see them and just how much they love their horses too. And it's like, sometimes they make me want to cry, but in a good way.
Yeah, definitely.
And that, if you want to follow the journey of the rescue, we are on Facebook. You can look up the Storm Equine Rescue. We also have a website. We also have a merch store on our website, so if you want to buy some Christmas gifts and support the ponies, you can.
That's what I'm going to do.
Yep, we're going to have some more stuff going up on our store soon for the holidays. We are also on Instagram. If you look up Eye of the Storm, you should find us there as well.
All right, cool. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it up after the show, so you'll be able to get in touch with Aly. And like I said, visit it.
Okay.
I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You're welcome to come back anytime. If we need to do it again, until they get help, you let me know, and we can do it again. I'd like to give a shout out to Leaving Street Ministries. My friend is out in Haverhill doing big things with the kids. I'd like to give a shout out to Yard Time Entertainment in Boston. And as always, I give a shout out to my children, Taisha, Darryl, and Zayla. I love you. Peace. Thank you. Thank you.